Okay, couple other things from last night. What did you think of the Niner defense? Malik Collins. I mean, the 49ers, JD, have had 4 defensive coordinators in the last 5 seasons. Have they found their guy in Nick Sorensen? What did you think of the game that Sorensen called? What did you think of the defensive effort?
Well, I mean, Fred Warner called it flawless last night in the post-game press conference at Levi's for Sorensen. The number one thing for me was that they stopped the run. And because you knew that the Jets were going to want to run, and they stopped the run. I know the Jets got some numbers late in the game. They got kind of the garbage touchdown, and there were some yards there. But they stopped the run, which to me was the biggest issue that they had last year. So that was something that I put on my little note card that I, put down coming into the year. I always put, all right, things you're going to think you're going to be good at, things that are, and stopping the run from last year to this year. Could that improve? And they remade the defensive line in an attempt to not only get more pressure, but basically to stop the run. Malik Collins, you mentioned it. He's a huge part of that. They stopped the run. I thought Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles played pretty well. Looking at the next level, he obviously ended up with the interception on the tip, and the 49ers matched up with a lot more base personnel last night than I thought they would. And we're all hyper focused on, Yadam's going to go to the outside and Lenore's going to move inside, and they're going to be playing a lot of nickel and who's going to come off the field and all of that. But they played a lot of base last night against the Jets. The Jets personnel indicated that that's what was called for. I kind of liked what I saw from Flanagan-Fowles, but to me, it started with stopping the run. Fred Warner, second year in a row. I don't know if you remember last year, week 1 at Pittsburgh. Fred Warner was just flying around, laying wood.
He had the big hit on Najee.
Yeah, early in the game, he's just flying around laying wood, and I thought Fred was flying around laying wood last night early, just setting the tone for his teammates, for the opposition, for everybody that's going to be playing the 49ers this season. And then Lenore, the PBU that turns into the interception. He had great coverage on Garrett Wilson on a ball that Garrett Wilson was able to get up top on him and catch it. And that was kind of a quintessential Rodgers. Maybe gave up a little bit of space there to allow him to get the position. But I just thought everything clicked. I thought Devondre Campbell looked better than I expected him to look. And Leonard Floyd was making plays last night. He had the sack. He had some other pressures. I think they do need to get Yetur Gross-Matos back, because I think Yetur Gross-Matos is more of the quintessential first and second down, stay true to the run complement to a guy like Leonard Floyd that you can let really get after the quarterback and rush the quarterback in some obvious pass situations. I think those two complement each other really well. So I think getting Yetur Gross-Matos healthy and out there will even help more. But so far, so good. I mean, they had Aaron Rodgers just kind of pinned in there, man, for a good chunk of the night and not looking comfortable. And they stopped the run, which is important. And I thought it was a really well-played game by the defense, other than that one series where Garrett Wilson with Rodgers found some spots in the zone.
Yeah, that one drive, and it was like Rodgers just kind of was a step ahead of the Niner defense at every turn on that drive. And he kind of picked him apart down the field with these little tiny passes.
Yeah, between Devondre Campbell and Odom, like 3 times. He found a spot right in between Devondre Campbell. It was like he had clearly, hey, I'm going to go after the linebacker I know in Campbell, right? And I'm going to go after the guy who's always been known as a better special teams guy than safety. And we're going to try to find some spots where Odom isn't quite there and Campbell's not quite there. And Lenore might be a little bit off initially, and they just kind of picked those spots.
You mentioned Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd had 4 pressures and 1 sack. He only played 20 pass rushing snaps. So he had 4 pressures and 20 snaps. That's a 21.1% pressure rate according to PFF. I think this is the move that we all kind of know was the big move of the offseason, but we really haven't talked about it that much, because in the grand scheme of things, Leonard Floyd is not a star on a team like this that has stars everywhere, right? I mean, there's some of the greatest stars in the NFL are on this team. So when you say, oh, they got Leonard Floyd, it's not like, oh my goodness, Leonard Floyd. But then you look a little closer and you're like, this guy's played 108 straight games. Then you look a little closer and you're like, wait a second, this is one of 3 players in the NFL to have 9.5 sacks in each of the last 3 years or more. So he shows up, he plays, he sacks the quarterback. And then you kind of think of the guys they've had in recent years with Randy Gregory and Chase Young, Arden Key, and some of the other guys they've had, Ebukam. None of, even D Ford got off the ball, but he had injuries. I think Floyd is the best they've had opposite Bosa. And when I said to him, I'm like, man, you're going to run into some sacks with Bosa on the other side. I loved his answer. He's like, man, he's going to run into as many on his side because I'm going to, flush the quarterback right into his lap. So the Niners truly have a difference-making tandem off the edge. And it's like, the difference between having one great edge rusher and 2 is just night and day. It's like having a state-of-the-art security system in your house and then leaving your back door wide open when you only have one defensive end. When you have 2 defensive ends, there's nowhere to go. So I'm really excited because I don't think we've seen Bosa opposite a true difference-making edge. And at least we haven't seen it in a long time, right? Because even D Ford, that was what year was that? That was
2019.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 5 years ago, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it was Bosa's rookie year in 2019 when they had D Ford, and D Ford was kind of in and out. And look, that was the only year that really D Ford made any kind of significant impact with the 49ers. I mean, you said it. I agree with you. I think he is the best opposite Nick Bosa pass rusher that they have. And I think that is going to be significant, especially as, they figure out, they don't have a lot of depth at that spot. Like I like Yetur Gross-Matos. I like Leonard Floyd. I don't think they have a lot of depth, even in terms of the D tackles. I don't think they have a lot of, like, if something happened to Bosa, if something happened to Floyd and Gross-Matos, or 2 of those 3 when you add Bosa in at the same time, I think it could be trouble. If something happened to Malik Collins, they do not have the defensive line depth that they've had. They really have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 guys, honestly, where in the other years they had 10, 11. Like, they had so many guys, they couldn't even keep them all on the active roster. And, they'd cut them and they'd get claimed, and they'd try to get somebody on the practice squad, and it wouldn't work out. But no, Leonard Floyd's just a pro's pro. He's a pro's pro, and he's played in a lot of big games. He just raises his game to the moment. He's not affected. And no, he's not a superstar, but the 49ers he's a winner. He's a winning player, right? I'll use the basketball analogy that Steve Kerr would always use with the Warriors. It's right. You've got your 82 game guys who get through and you got your 16 game guys, meaning your regular season players and your postseason players. I think Leonard Floyd's a postseason player for the night. Like, he's a guy that's going to come up with some big plays in the 2 or 3, 4 playoff games, and might ultimately be the difference between you winning and losing a playoff game or winning and losing a Super Bowl if he comes up big in that game.